Hi there, students. I don't know if you've been following the news, but the British Prime Minister, Theresa May, has resigned. And it looks like Boris Johnson is going to take her place. So, Boris Johnson, who is Boris Johnson? Well, let's see. Boris Johnson was born in New York. So, he has American citizenship and British citizenship. He has dual nationality. Let's see, what about qualifications to become Prime Minister? Well, he went to Eton and Oxford. If you go to Eton and Oxford, that's the scheme that most or many prime ministers follow. Of 54 former British prime ministers, 19 of them went to Eton School. Eton is a very expensive school in Windsor. And of the 54 previous prime ministers, 42 of them went to either Oxford or Cambridge. Okay? So he read, or he studied, classics at Balliol College. Balliol College has 3 ex-prime ministers. Ted Heath, Harold Macmillan, Asquith, and I think that was it. At his time in Oxford, there were many other really important people there. David Cameron, William Hague, Michael Gove. And he became a member of the Bullingdon Club, which is renowned for drunkenness and vandalism, and I think politicians as well. He then became the president of the Oxford Debating Society. That's another good sign for somebody who's going to be Prime Minister. It's another good thing to put on the curriculum. Yeah? But when he finished, he only got a 2-1. What does he mean, a 2-1? Well, Oxford and Cambridge are special, and you can get 4 types of degree. You get a first if you're really good and really smart. You get a 2-1, which is like a B+. You get a 2-2, which is like a B-, or you get a third, that's like a C. And that's the way they mark degrees at Oxford and Cambridge. Otherwise, you can fail, but very, very few people fail. So, anyway, he left Oxford with a 2-1 in classics, and he became a journalist. And he got a job with the Times, but he was then sacked for inventing a quote and using it as a reference in one of his articles. He then went to work for the Telegraph as a journalist and spent a long time at the Telegraph and with a magazine they produce called The Spectator. During his time there, he became very well known as a Eurosceptic, somebody who doesn't like the European Union. And also, while he was there, he used several unfortunate phrases. I'm going to use the word unfortunate, referring to African people as pickaninnies or watermelon smiles. To me, these sound like racist comments. He also referred to gay men as tank-topped bum boys. So I would imagine that he's pretty racist and fairly homophobic as well. In 1993, he first tried to stand for Parliament to become an MP, and he stood in a constituency in Wales, which is traditionally a Labour stronghold, and he got 9,000 votes, but he didn't get in. Anyway, in the late 90s, he became a television. He started to appear on television, yeah, in various different news programs and a comedy news program, and even Top Gear. This is one about cars. Like this on the TV, he became much more widely known, and people could see him and identify him with this blonde hair. Anyway, in 2001 he tried to become a member of Parliament again, and he stood as the MP for a place called Henley, which is between Oxford and London. Henley is an extremely rich, very posh town. Yeah, normally it has some of the highest housing prices in the UK. And anyway, he got in as MP for Henley. He continued as MP for Henley till 2008, and then he became the Mayor of London, taking over from Ken Livingstone. In 2016 he stopped and became an MP again, and most recently he resigned as Foreign Secretary for Theresa May's government because he didn't like the way things were going. Also notice his brother Joe Johnson is also a Conservative MP. Okay, so that's two Johnsons in Parliament. Let's see, if he becomes Prime Minister, which is very much on the cards, it's very likely to happen. He says that he will let the deadline expire and leave the EU without a deal, just go, or he will negotiate a better deal. Well, good luck to him if he thinks he can get the EU to change his mind. I think it might be difficult. So what does that mean for Brexit? Well, I think he's going to try to negotiate and play brinksmanship with the EU. The current extension from the EU runs out on the 31st of October, Halloween. And he's going to say, we're going to leave with no deal, whatever happens on the 31st. This could be very divisive in the country, cause big divisions, and it might even cause a new election, because I know that there are also a lot of MPs who are set on having another referendum, the people's choice, to decide if the EU is really going to leave. So there you go, that's Boris Johnson. Clearly in his checkered career, dubious, maybe a bit shady, he is a strong personality. Personally, I'm not sure if he's entirely honest. To me, he looks like a hooray Henry, a posh guy who enjoys drinking and rugby. Rugger is the posh word for it. Notice a quote from him as well. Once he said that his chances of becoming Prime Minister were about as good as the chances of finding Elvis on Mars, or him reincarnating as an olive. We'll see. But the bookies, the bookmakers, the betting, favours him very strongly. I think he's 5-1 on favourite. It means if you bet 5, you win 1. And I think his nearest rival is 5-1 against. If you bet 1, you win 5. So we will see what happens. The final decision should be made by I think it's the 9th of July. Well, we'll see. Enough. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. So, Boris Johnson and Brexit.